the numbers, okay, I am not getting enough oxygen to my tissues. Is everybody following me? Okay, so in cases where I got to deal with blood pressures, rise in blood pressures, lowers in blood pressures, we're going to find that renin-angiotensin aldosterone process can play a part in that. But we'll be coming back to that again once we get to the respiratory system and the kidneys. And in some cases, for blood pressure problems, especially high blood pressure problems, have you ever heard people being on the ACE inhibitors? I think we kind of mentioned that the first time we talked about it. And that's important because a lot of medications interact with this type of medication. And what it's doing is it's trying to help people keep their blood pressure low. So a lot of people who are on high blood pressure medication are on ACE inhibitors, and that affects their ability to take other medications, which becomes very important once you get out into the field and are working with patients. You're going to want to know, okay, well, wait a minute, is this person being put on a medication that, you know, affects ACE or works, that shouldn't be taken with an ACE inhibitor, okay? Some other hormones that the body will use, our heart itself can affect blood pressure, blood flow, that sort of thing. And it does it with natriuretic peptides. And that's something that you will come across, like in people with heart problems, okay? You will see that these levels may be off, okay? Hopefully the cardiologist is watching that. Antidiuretic hormone, does everybody remember that one? Where's that one from? Which side, anterior or posterior? My posterior. Our epinephrine, norepinephrine are going to affect blood pressure levels, okay? So different hormones in the body that are actually created naturally will affect blood pressure. And in the body trying to maintain homeostasis for blood pressure, these chemicals can just get released in small amounts. Nothing that's off the charts or out of the range or needs medication or needs control, okay? It's part of the homeostatic mechanisms. One of the things our body is really good at doing, our body is good at responding to the need for either a rise in blood pressure or a lowering of blood pressure and the amount of blood that is needed. For example, let's go with this one that we're being given, exercise, all right? How many of y'all in your exercise on a regular basis? Go to the gym, do all that fun stuff. I used to be really good at it. Past almost year and a half, I've just been like, no, okay? What do you kind of notice about the difference in the two pictures? First of all, what do you think the pictures are trying to tell us?
Where most of the blood flow goes to?
Most of my blood flow, and it's looking at amounts, okay? See how it's got like 1,000 milliliters, 700 milliliters, blah, 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 okay? When the body is at rest, the blood distribution, the blood amount, okay, we're not having a whole lot of it go to the muscles. And remember, we have about 5 or 6 liters at any point in time, about 4 to 6. Women have a little less than men. A huge amount is going to the digestive system because at rest, is when the digestive system is going to work. All right? So a lot of it's going to the digestive system. A lot of it's going to my kidneys. I'm getting the good filtration, taking care of waste and that sort of thing. Brain's pretty much going to control what it gets, okay, at all times. Some of it's going to the skin, some of it's going to the heart circulation itself, and then the other stuff that we've got in the body. So my biggest areas at rest, digestive, kidneys, a little bit to the muscles. But now, let's say I'm going to start getting ready for that, a little bit of exercise we do, and my body is going to allow for the adaptation to meet the need of my skeletal muscle for exercise. Because all of a sudden, what do you see happen?
All the blood goes to the muscle.
The majority is going to the muscles. And the reason that people are going to do all that warm up, all that sort of fun stuff, okay? They're trying to increase the blood flow to get those muscles, quote unquote, warmed up. They say that because the blood is warm. Okay? It literally warms the muscles. It does a lot of other things. Okay? Now, at a time of exercise, first of all, what do you notice about my amounts?
Smaller. And increase.
It increased. All of a sudden, I go from 1,013, 50, 11, 7, 3. I go from roughly my 4 to 6 liters to, what do you notice over here? For example, that's 12 liters right there. How did my body go from roughly the 4 to 6 liters to almost double or more?
Does it involve blood pressure?
Blood pressure is definitely going to go up. Heart rate's going to go up. Respiration rate's going to go up. But where did my extra fluid come from?
On the organs.
Well, it's not going to have as great of a blood flow to my digestive organs, so it's going to get diverted. It's going to get shunted, so to speak. Where do you think this extra 6 liters came from? Huh? Well, the heart's got to pump it. It's got to be able to increase to get more fluid through.
This is a wild guess. Is your body producing more?
Not really. Alex?
Is the actual volume changing, or is it just
My volume has changed.
Would it be a blood vessel?
Which ones? The veins. Remember how my veins are capacitance. Capacity. Holding it. This is the reason, for example, trauma. Okay? This is the reason that when there's a severe trauma, that they focus so hard on stopping that blood flow, that blood loss, because we only have a certain amount to keep us alive. And see, in the time of trauma, the heart is still going to try to meet the demands of all the tissues at the same time while losing blood. And eventually, it can't. That's why they work so hard to stop that blood loss, okay, so that they can not lose the blood. And if they're able to stop it, well, the body has to address that. Sometimes we need help, and people have to be given blood. Okay? So, but that's trauma. But this would be an example of how our body can meet the demands based on what is available. Now, if you stay hydrated, if you are very conscious about your physical wellness and that sort of thing, your fluid volumes are probably higher. Therefore, drinking all the water, that sort of thing. Like a couple people, as we walk in the mornings that I work with, I see them carrying like the gallon bottles. And so one morning, I'm walking in, and I don't know if any of y'all are going into respiratory therapy, but Ms. Austin, who's the program director, and she's so much fun to talk to. She's just so knowledgeable. And one of the things that she did before moving into respiratory therapy was exercise physiology. And so I was like, do you drink all that water in one day? And she's like, yes, I do. And that's how I found out that, she's doing. And I go, look, now, okay, we hear so many differences about how much water we should take in for the day. I go, what should we take in? She said, well, you should take in ounces, half your body weight. What? I'm in trouble. Because, I'm like thinking, okay, well, if I drink 2 of these a day, what are these, the 30-ounce Yetis or whatever, 32, 30, whatever? And I'm like thinking, well, if I do this 2 of these a day, and then when she told me that, I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. I am not getting the amount of water I need. And she goes, and you need to drink over half of this just in the morning time. Y'all see I'm not dragging the gallon bottle, right? Okay. Yeah. So that was kind of a bit of an eye-opener for the amount of fluid to have in the body. Because I'm thinking, okay, well, there's a lot of trips to the ladies' room, too. So, and she's like, yeah, she said, but eventually, your body gets used to it, blah, blah, blah. And I know that. I just didn't, start doing that. So, keeping it hydrated is another way. Because when you go to do the exercise, it'll actually pull the fluids. So that's another way that it works to get that fluid met. So if we have all these controls over the blood flow, then yes, we've mentioned a lot of this. Okay, we've talked a lot about this in the first part because I keep talking about how this is the important part. Because if the capillaries are the business end, that's controlling everything. That's controlling the amount of water in the body. It's controlling how much water is in those tissues. It's controlling how much moves out of the tissues, meaning, therefore, it's controlling edema. It's moving the nutrients. It's supplying the nutrients. It's picking up because when you get ready to go into whatever field you're going into, this is the point you need to know. Okay? I'll let y'all know that I try to work really hard with the program heads because I want to make sure that you all are ready when you go into those classes. Okay? Therefore, that's the reason you got that case study that I gave you, because that is what you will see. That's what you will encounter when you go into your courses. And so it becomes important to know how and why this is controlling everything. Doesn't matter what part of the body you're looking at, okay? Doesn't matter if you're looking at the brain. If you're